All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube family? We're back. Another episode of the Witching Hour, and it's Sunday edition. We got ham here. We got your eggs. We got Nades, a little breakfast. Get your coffee. Get ready to find the winners here. So we're going to bring you the winners. Got a nice little 10-game slate, 11-game slate, I believe, on FanDuel. They did include the Coors Field game over there for whatever reason. Game starts about an hour and some change after the latest lock time. So FanDuel slate decided to make an all-day slate, but DraftKings obviously does not have Coors Field. We will still break that game down because I got my boy here, Mr. Hamwich, freaking FanDuel legend himself, coming off of a 20K shipper. Hamwich, how we doing, man? Welcome to SHIPIT Nation.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Glad to be here. Yeah, let's give these folks some winners. Let's try to duplicate what we did Friday night and give them out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We appreciate you over here. Hamwich has come on the team, join the SHIPIT Nation team over here. Very, very profitable, very, very good DFS player on both DraftKings and FanDuel. He does crush FanDuel. Obviously, he just shipped the 20K on Friday night there. First day kind of producing content over here at SHIPITNation.com. You can catch his FanDuel course 7 days a week. He's also going to be doing shows like you can see here. He's going to be on with me on Sundays. And then once we do add a Saturday show, possibly going forward, he will be also on that Saturday show. So you'll get a nice little dose of your ham. You can pair it up with your coffee and your eggs and definitely get a nice little breakfast here, especially on Sunday mornings. Before we do, if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. We are trying to push subscribers. We're at 1.12K subscribers. Let's see if we can get to 1.2 even today on the channel here. We definitely appreciate that a ton. More giveaways are going to be coming. The more subscribers, the more stuff we do get. And it does look like we dropped him out, so I apologize for that. Once he joins back, I will bring him back in there. Little technical difficulties off the top here, but let's go ahead and jump into the slate here. Once waiting on him, I will break it down until he gets back. We got an interesting pitching slate here. We got some guys up at the top that have very good matchups. Some other guys that he is back. Let me go ahead and add him back.
Sorry about that.
No worries. He is back. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the pitching slate. Ham, you are back now, so that's good. A little technical difficulties off the top, but hey, we'll work through it. We'll still got winners to pick. Let's go 9K and above using DraftKings pricing here, Ham. We got Shane Bieber down there at the bottom, 9K flat. Obviously, we got Giolito there against Miami. I know you and I have been rostering these White Sox pitchers against Miami pretty much all weekend long. Got Mitch Keller there, Bryce Elder, Kevin Gausman up at the top, who's got probably the stone nut matchup of the slate. It is going to come with ownership, probably 40 to 50% plus ownership, high stakes, probably even higher, but for a good reason. I mean, he's been absolutely incredible. So touch on the guys you have interest in this range and anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to start at the top. Kevin Gausman, like you mentioned, really good matchup, watered down Twins lineup, striking out over 25% of the time. He is 11-4, so he is pricey, but the K matchup is there. The prop is there. So Gausman for sure. I do not like Elder today versus the Nats. His strikeout pitch, which is the slider, they really don't swing and miss on that. Elder coming off 4 days rest as well. So I'm off Elder. And then last one you alluded to, Giolito. We've been picking on the Marlins all weekend. They just swing and miss a whole lot. Giolito last outing versus the Yankees, super sharp. So once again, I think he's going to soar over his K prop and be good for us.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in lockstep with you here. Obviously, Gausman, by no surprise, my SP1 on the slate. I don't really care about the ownership. I'm okay eating that ownership and maybe getting different at the SP2 position. Obviously, the chalk pairing of the slate it comes with the next guy in the next range that we'll talk on in Freddie Peralta against Oakland. So right off the top, I mean, you can be different right away and just go Gausman and a different SP2, to be honest with you. And I actually have some takes on that once we get down in the lower range. So Gausman, love him. Elite matchup. These Twins, I'm not afraid of these Twins, especially on the road. And Gausman's been arguably one of the best pitchers in the entire league all year. He's just consistent. He goes out there. He's got the K upside. And so at 11-4, I could argue he could be 12-4 on this slate. We've seen Spencer Strider pushing 12-4, and I could argue on this slate, Gausman has just as much upside as Strider would. So I like Gausman quite a bit. I'm off McClanahan here. I am seeing him about 25+% ownership here. Texas just doesn't strike out against left-handed pitching. And I mean, they have ISO good WOBA numbers as well. So at 11-2, I just rather find the $200, especially when I'm seeing 20+% ownership on McClanahan as well. Mitch Keller, off of Mitch Keller here. We've seen him kind of come back down to earth a little bit here. Now he does get the Mets. The Mets have started hitting the ball a little bit more. So not going to get there. Bryce Elder, I'm out on Elder. I just don't like picking on these Nationals. You brought up the points on Elder as well, and the Nationals. These Nationals are just pesky, right? They just don't strike out. And my other guy in this range is, you brought it up, Giolito down there at the bottom. Very good matchup here. I've continued to pick on Miami. I'll continue to do it with these pitchers that for the White Sox that I think can go out there and just post good scores. So for me in this range, definitely Gausman number 1, Giolito number 2, and I'm probably fading the rest of this range personally. Let's jump into the next range here, Ham. Let's go down. We got Freddie Peralta at the top there at 8,800. Take him all the way down to Martin Perez. So there's quite a few guys in here. In terms of ownership, I'm seeing Freddie Peralta pushing 40%. I'm seeing Hunter Green is coming in right behind him, right around 25 to 30%. So hit on those two guys in particular if you have interest, if you don't have interest, and then anyone else in here, because all these other guys are pretty low owned. And I do have one guy in here in particular that I do like quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you alluded to it. I mean, Oakland A's have been horrific all year. My problem with Peralta is his strikeout numbers aren't where they were last year. He's striking out around a little over 22%, which on this slate, with him being popular, I think I'm going to pass, in small field. MME, I think he's fine, but we'll pass on Peralta on my main team. And who was the second one you mentioned?
Hold on. Let me see. He is getting about Hunter Green.
Hunter Green. Yeah, I'm going to stay away. I don't like picking on these Cardinals. They have some scary bats. He does have a pretty good strikeout clip, but these Cardinals don't strike out as much as I would like. And I also think that he's prone to blow up, has been walking folks in the past. So I'm going to stay away from Hunter Green.
Yeah. Any other interest in here? I mean, you got guys like Brandon Belock. We've played him quite a bit. He is facing Cleveland, which I typically don't like picking on too much. Taijuan Walker, that's down low. Kyle Gibson, Louis Varland, any of these other guys, Martin Perez. Personally, I don't have too much interest in those. Braxton Garrett, maybe. Against the White Sox here. We've seen the upside Braxton Garrett has. Any other interest in this range, or are you kind of just staying at the top range?
Yeah, no, Braxton Garrett, I was going to mention him. Braxton Garrett has a really good matchup. Some of these White Sox that are in the lineup are striking out at an alarming clip versus left-handed pitching. So I do have interest in Braxton Garrett. He will be on a couple of my teams. And then the last one that I have interest in is Louis Varland. The only J that scares me today is Biggio in that lineup, and he's batting in the 9-hole. So Louis Varland does grade out well for me. So Varland, Garrett in that range that we just discussed.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you a little bit there. Freddie Peralta, I mean, I'm seeing 40+% ownership on him, right around 40%. I think, I mean, it is a good matchup, right? It is Oakland. Everyone knows you can pick on Oakland with starting pitchers. We just saw Tehran, the corpse of Julio Tehran yesterday. Obviously, he's been pitching very good this year for the Brewers. I'm a personally Brewers fan, so I don't mind it. But it was very hurtful to see him go out there and post, 23 DraftKings points, I think he posted yesterday. These Athletics do strike out a decent amount, but, I mean, you got guys like Kevin Smith in the back half of the lineup and Seth Brown that are right around nearly 40% strikeouts that are kind of pushing the numbers because, I mean, you got JJ Bleday in there, Carlos Perez, Jace Peterson, Laureano, Esteury Ruiz that are all right around 20% or under in strikeouts. So if Freddie's losing his control, which happens pretty often, right? We call him Fastball Freddie. He's got to come back with fastballs, and people know that. And if he can't locate his pitches, he kind of gets hurt in a hurry. He does allow over a 10% barrel rate as well. So when he's throwing hard, it is a good hitter's park in Milwaukee. I do think I'm probably going to fade Freddie here, to be honest with you, because I'm already eating the chalk at the top. So I'm kind of in lockstep there with you. I'm going to fade Hunter Green as well. Obviously, Hunter Green has some home run concerns because he does throw very hard. And these Cardinals, man, have a lot of bats, especially right there at 2-3. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Gorman. And then obviously you got Arenado right behind those guys. So those 2 through 4 right there hitters are pretty scary, especially when you got a hard throwing Hunter Green. I'm out on Hunter Green, especially. I mean, he's going to approach 30% ownership likely. At least that's what I'm seeing right now. And it's kind of it's due to the price tags, right? Ham, if you would it be crazy to think people just go Freddie Peralta and Hunter Green and kind of just pair those up? Because there is a lot of expensive bats to pay for. I know you and I have interest in one expensive team that is expensive pretty much up and down their lineup, at least the bats that you want to play, that they're not getting a ton of ownership overall, but the Braves are going to get a lot of ownership. So they're all expensive. So people want to save money, and that's kind of why these 8K SP2 pitchers are getting a decent amount of ownership here. Personally, for me, I think my favorite guy in this range is actually down at the bottom, 7,600, JP Sears. Milwaukee, I've played Milwaukee the last 2 days. They were obviously pretty high owned. They were top 4, top 5 owned stack on the respective slates every time, and they were very hurtful. Had a nice team yesterday and scored a combined 6 points from my 3 Milwaukee hitters overall. I'm going to go JP Sears. It's a left-handed pitcher against Milwaukee who's slumping pretty good right now. And Sears is actually, Brian, yeah, he does get hit. I mean, he gives up some barrel rate and gets hit a little bit, but he has a 23% strikeout rate. This Brewer team strikes out over 30% at home against left-handed pitchers, and he's just 7,600. I'm seeing sub 10% ownership on him. So that's my favorite pitcher in this range. I mean, you can go ahead and just save $1,000 there, $1,200 with Freddie Peralta. Go to the other side of that game where everyone wants to play Peralta. Why not just flip the script, right, Ham, and go right down to JP Sears? We pitched the lefty making his debut against these Brewers, and he struck out 5 or 6, posted 24 DraftKings points. And JP Sears has done good all year against some pretty good opponents. So I'm definitely like him quite a bit. I'm pretty much out on everyone else. I know I get the Louis Varland. Toronto just doesn't strike out, man. And I just think for $300 cheaper, I just think JP Sears has a higher ceiling with the strikeout upside of the Milwaukee lineup. But I do get the point with Louis Varland, has a decent projection over here for us at SHIPITNation.com. Let's break it down, the rest of this pitching range. Let's go Carlos Hernandez all the way down to the bottom. Any of these other guys that you have interest in. I know one guy in particular you're going to see a decent amount of ownership just due to his price tag is Adam Wainwright at the bottom, 5,300 against Cincinnati. Touch on that in particular, and then anyone else. I'm not seeing too much outside of that, but maybe Brandon Belock, something like that.
Yeah, definitely no interest in Wainwright. I actually like a few of the Reds today. Obviously, De La Cruz, who gets back to his more power side of the plate, which is his left-hand side. He's been facing a couple lefties the last couple of days. I really like De La Cruz we'll start talking about the bats, but no Wainwright for me. He's just striking out under 12% of the folks from the left and right-hand side. No Martin Perez. I like the Rays. We'll talk about the Rays when we get to the bats, but nobody really down here. I think the lowest I'm going to go is Varland today. And you kind of sold me on Sears. You know, the Brewers have been chalked the last couple nights and have failed. So I think they're really struggling. They struggle against left-handed pitching. You know the Brewers better than anybody, Nate. So I might get down to some JP Sears, but nobody below JP Sears. Definitely not Carrasco. I'm going to be off Belak, Wainwright, Perez, and the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I'm the lowest I'm going to go is JP Sears. I actually have a really nice team that I built that's up on our cores, all three of our cores. How much is FanDuel cores up on the website shipitnation.com already with his route he's going to go. Our guy Hoop, big 50 stacks Hoop. It does have his GPP slate of plan. His three favorite stacks. His three favorite pitchers up on the website, and then my DK core, my main DK core, is already up on the website as well at shipitnation.com. We do like to get our content up. I think Ham tagged the chat at 8 a.m. this morning that he was already locked in in the lab, picked the winners already, gave the people a nice little starting spot for their lineups. And then obviously all of our proprietary tools are updated throughout the day, consistently changing starting pitcher rankings, hitter rankings. And yesterday, I mean, the starting pitcher rankings absolutely printed again yesterday. And that's just another benefit over here at shipitnation.com. We're not just a course-oriented site. We do give you tools to create and build competitive lineups and put your own twist on DFS. That's what it's all about. Obviously, you can follow our content and advice, what our cores are, what we're doing. But the best kind of middle ground is see where we're going, see why we got on it using our tools, like this advanced starting lineups page that I talked about multiple times already. And kind of look at the projections, look at the hitter rankings, look at the pitcher rankings, look at the lineups, and kind of build your own and make your own twist on it. And we've had multiple members already over the last couple of weeks, shipping tournaments, winning tons of money, and absolutely loving it over here. $59 a month does get you access to everything at Shipping Nation, including projections, including proprietary tools, including all the premium Discord access to Ask Tambo golf questions and Hoop, and our guy Title Crown, as we call him over here, for MMA content. He'll be in there for NBA. He'll be in there for everything else. So $59 a month, $5.99 for the year. And that price, you got a day left. It is going up tomorrow on the 12th. The 1 month of Shipping Nation launching is right around the corner. And you got about 24 hours, give or take, until that price does go up to full price. And you also no longer can ever get access to the founding family benefits for being into Ship It Nation in the first 30 days. You keep those benefits as long as you never cancel. Your price stays locked in unless you never cancel. We're not increasing pricing, increasing anything. And the founding family does have $10,000+ in giveaways coming in the next 6 months, including multiple free rolls. You're going to get merchandise when we do launch merch at our cost. So no markup there on that. Plenty of tickets, plenty of other stuff. So get in now. $59 a month does get you access to everything there. That's a little promo spiel of the day. Again, if you guys are new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it a ton. I see about 180 of you in here watching right now. We're sitting at 55 likes. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. I'm going to set the like number at 130 likes. If we can get to 130 likes, Hamwich is going to give you his favorite lower-owned pitcher of the day, his favorite home run call. I'll do the same at the end. And we'll even give away the top-ranked hitter on our site and the top-ranked pitcher. It was yesterday. I'll just let you know. It was the Dodgers pitcher who was SP1 on the entire DraftKings slate last night. And our top-ranked hitter was Ronald Acuna. So if you had those two, you probably had a pretty good day like myself. Let's jump into game by game, Ham. First game I'm looking at here is the New York Mets, Pittsburgh Pirates. Mets sitting right around a 4 implied run total. Pirates a little over 4.5. We got Cookie Carrasco, who I typically like picking on quite a bit. So I actually have some interest in these Pirates. They're cheap. Mitch Keller on the other side kind of takes me off of the Mets, even though I wasn't playing Mitch Keller. But talk on any interest you have in bats in this one.
Yeah, no Mets for me. I know Keller struggled his last outing, so I went back and looked at some of his data over his last 5 starts. Nothing too alarming there. So I'm not on Keller, but I'm not on any of these Mets as well. Pirates treated me good Friday night. They were on my winning team with Sawinski. I'm going right back to Sawinski tonight. And also like the corpse of Carlos Santana. So I like Santana tonight, batting that 4-5 hole with Sawinski. Those are going to be my main 2 pieces as it relates to the Pirates. Some of the other lefties, Cookie Carrasco is not any good anymore. But the main 2 Pirates I like are going to be Santana and Sawinski.
Yeah, I'm on there in lockstep with you. But I do think, these Pirates, we just seen them, what they put up, 12 runs, 13 runs. Obviously broke the slate, helped you ship 20K over on FanDuel at, I think they were all sub 2%, 3% ownership on FanDuel. Some of them even under 1%. I think you can go right back to the well here. They have all very nice price tags on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Andrew McCutcheon, Brian Reynolds. I love Jack Sawinski today. He ranks out very, very good on our tools over here at ShipItNation.com. Marcano down there is cheap. Austin Hedges has been decent, which is crazy to say, but in the 9-hole, 2,300, I think he makes some sense. Overall, I think up and down this lineup, Brian Hayes just went absolutely nuclear at third base. He's 4,100. So I do think these Pirates make a lot of sense in terms of mini stacks and even 5-man stacks on the slate, because I'm not seeing them getting a ton of ownership here. And I continue to pick on Cookie Carrasco here every time he's on the slate. I don't care what team is going against them. Very low strikeout rate, pretty high barrel percentage, expected ERA over 5.5. So overall, I do think this is a pretty good spot for the Pirates here. Obviously not the greatest hitters park, but I don't think that matters too much here. Let's jump into the next game. We got Kansas City Royals, very low implied run total, facing Kyle Gibson. The Orioles do have a pretty healthy implied run total here. Going to see the bulk of Mike Mayers here for Kansas City. Any interest in these Orioles? Because they do have right around a 5.3 implied run total on our tools over here. And then any interest on some of these Royals bats?
Yeah, actually, one of my contrarian takes of the day is I do like the Royals. Gibson has been pitching well as of late. His last couple starts, the velocity on his fastball has gone down a little bit. I actually have on the ShipItNation.com website, Salvador Perez is in my core. I will be pairing him with some other Royals and some of my main teams. So I do actually like the Royals today. I know that implied run total is not where we wanted to see, but I think Gibson's going to come back to earth today. So I do like the Royals, Melendez, Perez, and Massey as my 3 favorite Royals. On the Orioles side, I typically don't like bullpen games. I think Carlos Hernandez is going to go 1 or 2 innings, and as you alluded to, Mayers or however you say his name will be coming in for the bulk of the innings. Had a good first couple starts, struggled over his last several starts. I'm just not really into this Orioles lineup right now. Anytime you have Aaron Hicks batting in your 4-hole, I don't really take you too seriously. So I am off the Orioles today on the Royals. Get this cat out of here.
Yeah, that's an interesting take there, because nobody's going to play these Royals. We see it all the time in MLB DFS. Teams go to Vegas totals, right? They look at implied run totals. They look at a little bit of pitcher data, and they kind of just start planting flags, right, on teams that have implied run totals and don't look at too much of the underlying metrics like we do over here. And we have tools to help you do so over here at ShipItNation.com. Some of these Royals, we always know Salvador Perez has the power to kind of break a slate, especially, he's $3K flat on FanDuel. That's $2,300 cheaper on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. I would much prefer him on FanDuel. Obviously, he is in your FanDuel core over here. We'll give a little foreshadow to the people in the YouTube chat here. 3K flat is a very nice price tag batting there in the 2-hole. Nick Pratto has been decent this year as well. Obviously, Bobby Witt, especially on FanDuel. Bobby Witt gets on base. Those 6 points rack up in a hurry when he's out there swiping bags left and right. So like Bobby Witt a lot there. But up and down this lineup, these Royals will steal as well. So I don't mind that take, especially on the underlying metrics that you dug into with Kyle Gibson. So that's a pretty interesting take. I need to take a closer look at that, especially on DraftKings, because, a lot of these guys outside of Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt are all under 3K on DraftKings. So very nice salary savers. And if they can get to Gibson at no ownership, it allows you to pay up to the top, and Gausman have a nice, pretty expensive SP2 option. Obviously, like Peralta and some of those other guys that people are wanting to go to, still have a very, very high-end 5-man stack and fill out your teams with some of these cheaper Royals. Definitely is an interesting look. So I will definitely take that as a mental note and take a look at that. I'm kind of with you on these Orioles. I just don't play these Orioles a ton. Adley Rutschman, you can always play. Austin Hayes would be my preferred. Gunnar Henderson is batting leadoff tonight or today. I think that makes some sense. 3K on FanDuel, 3,400 on DraftKings. He'll swipe some bases as well. The only issue I have is Mayers has been pretty solid actually for Kansas City. And typically more bullpen games, they can play matchups, right? Handedness matchups a little bit more in terms of bringing other guys in. You're kind of always getting a fresh pitcher, if you will, in bullpen games. So I never really like targeting them, especially on a 10-game, 11-game FanDuel slate. So overall, I'm out on the Orioles here, and these Royals do make some sense that you brought up. So I definitely will need to take a look at that. Next game of the day, we got these Nationals facing Bryce Elder in Truist Park. And we got the chalk of the slate here, Ham. Braves, implied run total of 6.4 against Trevor Williams in Truist Park. Trevor Williams allowing a 13.3% barrel rate, strikeouts under 18%, expected ERA over 5.5. I mean, this looks like a can't miss spot, but we know it's baseball. We know the ownership's going to be here as well. Obviously, Ronald Acuna just went absolutely bonkers yesterday. He's kind of a fantasy cheat code over here with home runs and stolen bases. He's right there batting leadoff again here today. Talk on these Braves. Are you going to play them? Are you going to fade them? What you're going to do there? Because that is the focal offense of today's slate.
Yeah, the Braves are chalk, and for good reason, right? Trevor Williams, not any good anymore. And Hoop talks about it all the time on these shows. The beauty of the Braves is you can play 1 through 9. I do like all 9 of them. I am interested in them. Really like Ronald Acuna. That's no surprise. Marcelo Zuna, who hit a home run yesterday, really like him versus Trevor Williams. And the Matt Olson as well profiles really well against Trevor Williams. I will be having some of them in MME. I will have some of them on my main team as well. Really like them. On the other side, Lane Thomas is the only one that I have any interest in. Facing a left-handed pitcher, he can hit a home run, he can steal, he can get around the bases pretty quickly. So he's going to be the only national that I have interest in, but 1 through 9 on the Braves side.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. No surprise. I love playing the back half of this Braves team. Ozzie Albies has dropped down to the 7 hole today. He'll swipe. I'm getting a little feedback, Ham. He'll swipe bases, and he also has power. 4,700 in the 7 hole will probably keep his ownership pretty low, to be honest with you. Orlando Arcia has shown some power in Atlanta. Obviously, it would have been nice to have that when he was with us in Milwaukee. But he's always been a great fielder. His hitting has lacked, but whatever the Braves put in their locker room water over there has turned Orlando Arcia around into a better hitter than he was in Milwaukee. Michael Harris is a stud down there in the 9 hole. Hasn't quite figured it out yet this year compared to where he was last year, going through a little bit of a sophomore slump, if you will. But he's starting to come around a little bit, has been decent in the last few games. So I like him. Matt Olson absolutely smashes right-handed pitching at home. So I absolutely love him. But he is 6,100, and you do have to make a decision, him or Freddie Freeman at the top there, because I do like the Dodgers in the next game quite a bit. But 1 through 9 for the Braves, definitely a play for me. And then 3 Nationals actually stand out pretty good to me. Candelario, Corey Dickerson, and Keibert Ruiz right there in the middle of that lineup. They all don't strike out a ton. Overall, just this Nationals team just does not strike out. They put the ball in play, and that's what I like when I'm rostering guys, because the more you put the ball in play, if you're not swinging and missing, right, you put the ball in play, things can happen. They can get on base, start scoring runs, and all of them have decent power. I mean, expected ISO numbers, 220, 272, and 242. And those guys are all cheap. I mean, Corey Dickerson at 2,400, batting right in the middle of that lineup against Bryce Elder, will be very low owned, and he definitely has power to hit it over the fence. So some of those Nationals, interesting, but for me, definitely, obviously, the Braves, 5-man stacks, 3-man stacks make a ton of sense, but they will come with ownership on this slate. Next game for us, Ham, I got the Dodgers facing the Phillies against Taijuan Walker here. Victor Gonzalez is going to start, it looks like, for the Dodgers here, and then probably the bullpen the rest of the way here. Talk on these Dodgers, because I know you and I both have a ton of interest in them. I'm not seeing them getting a ton of ownership at all, and there's a reason for that, especially on DraftKings. It's their price tags. I mean, the top 5 of their lineups all over 5K. 2 of them are over 6K. So they're definitely the most expensive 5-man stack, I think, on this slate. That's probably why their ownership's keeping down, because everyone wants to play Gausman at the top. Everyone wants to play Peralta, and it's very hard to stack up the Dodgers the way you want, at least get the bats for the Dodgers that you want. But I found a way to do it, and I love the Dodgers here tonight. I think you're with me, so touch on that. And then any Phillies on the other side. I mean, you got Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, both have really good numbers here, can always hit bombs, but touch on this game.
Yeah. You said it, and anyone that has seen my Coors knows that I am high on the Dodgers today. Great hitters park, great weather, and not a good pitcher. Those are three factors that are playing into this. And like you said, the prices are all high, so it's tough to squeeze Gausman in 5 of these Dodgers in your lineup. I would prioritize Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and David Peralta for my 3. Peralta's coming in at a lower price than normal, so I think that's good. That's a good way to get him in there. But 5 stack him on DK, 4 stack him up on FanDuel. They are far and away my number 1 stack on the slate today.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. I love the Dodgers here. They are on my core over at SHIPITNation.com as well. And I did not get to Mookie, but obviously it's hard right now to leave Mookie out of your Dodger stacks. But certainly, 1 through 9, these guys are in play. I actually like Jason Hayward a decent amount down there in the 8-hole. 2,500 on DraftKings, 2,600 on FanDuel. Has actually been pretty decent this year. Has shown some signs of power, and I don't like Taijuan Walker as a pitcher. I think he's definitely susceptible to get blown up here. A very good hitter, guaranteed 9th inning at bat. So everything points me to the Dodgers here. And if they could just score more after the 3rd inning, right? They come out there, start scoring in the first 3 innings, get to 6 or 7 runs, and kind of just hit the brakes and coast the rest of the game. So if they could put together a full 9 innings of hitting for us one time, Hamwich, I think it'd be very, very profitable. So hopefully that's today. Phillies side, I'm out on the Phillies here. I just don't like attacking bullpen games, especially on a full slate. So let's jump into the next game here. We got Minnesota, Louis Varland, Kevin Gausman. Looks like a pitcher's duel to me, but any bats in this one that catch your eye?
Yeah, definitely no bats on the Twins side. And I said it earlier, I like Louis Varland a little bit. This and just looking at the pitches he throws and the way the Blue Jays hit him, I don't think they're going to get to him. The only one, I mentioned him earlier, Kevon Biggio, but he's batting at the 9-hole, so he would definitely just be a one-off as a last-minute fill-in if you were doing a 5-2-1 on DK. But no interest in the Twins, minimal interest on the Blue Jays side.
I'm in lockstep here with you. Pretty easy cross-off game for me. The Blue Jays do have a pretty healthy implied run total. You can always play Matt Chapman over. I bring his name up every time. So you can always play him, but overall, I'm out on these Blue Jays. I just haven't played them too much. I'm not going to start here against Louis Varland, who you have some interest in here as well. Next game, we got Houston facing Shane Bieber. Belock and Bieber on the hill for both teams here. Houston right around a 4 implied run total. Guardians have right around 4.5 run total. They've been pesky, but obviously there's no Jose Ramirez in that lineup, and he's been on an absolute tear. So that definitely hurts this lineup quite a bit. Personally, I don't have very much interest at all in this game. Jose Abreu somehow started finding a power stroke. The dude looked like he couldn't hit it out of a little league stadium. Now he's starting to hit home runs. He does have BVP as well today against Bieber for all you BVP truthers, but that BVP is likely many years old overall. Obviously, it's not the same Jose Abreu of years past, but touch on any of these Astros and any of these Guardians you have interest in.
Yeah, the Guardians just don't hit enough home runs. And if you look at our advanced data page on our website, the X ISO for all the Guardians is horrendous. So definitely no interest in the Guardians. Just talking through it, I didn't really have any interest in Brandon Bielak after the show. I'll have to go back and look at him. I did not know that Jose Ramirez was out, so that's good to know that confirmed lineup. On the Astros side, obviously taking Alvarez out really hurts that lineup. They've put up a couple runs the last 2 nights without him, but Bieber, he's not as good as he once was either, but I'm going to not have any Astros without Yordan in the lineup today.
Yeah, I just haven't played these Astros without Yordan, and it hasn't really killed me. Obviously, could they do it? Yeah, it's baseball, right? There's 20 teams that you can play on the slate. I'm not going to play all of them. I play 2 to 3 teams. So I'm kind of planting my flag in teams that I feel more confident in. Obviously, you can do what you want in MME. The Astros do have upside here, I think, but overall, I'm out on this game in general. Next game, we got the Rangers heading into Pitchers Park here in Tampa to face McClanahan, Martin Perez on the other hand. any interest in these Rays? They do have very good expected ISO numbers against left-handed pitching at home. And then hit on any of these Rangers that you possibly have interest in.
Yeah, no interest in the Rangers. You alluded to it earlier. They don't strike out a whole ton, but I'm not picking on McClanahan on this slate. So no Rangers for me. I do have interest in the Rays. Randy Arozarena really stands out to me on this slate. He's my number one Ray. And then I like the middle of the lineup. So you could put in Paredes, Siri, and Betancourt. So anything Arozarena and below, I'm fine with. I mean, anytime Wander Franco gets on base, he's still in a base or two. So that does scare me if I was to fade him. But mainly Arozarena, then I'll build around Arozarena when I have my Rays teams.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep. I do think these Rays are interesting. I mean, they have right around a 5 implied run total here. And I've talked about it. They obviously are not the Rays that we saw in the first, 12 or 13 games of the season. Everyone thought they were going undefeated. They were launching bombs. But that's what they do. They hit bombs. Harold Ramirez, I love there in the middle. Randy Arozarena. Jose Siri, 4,200, absolutely crushes left-handed pitching. So I like him quite a bit. But all these Rays, I mean, their prices are starting to come up, so you are paying for it. But I do think they make a pretty contrarian 5-man stack here on the slate. And what are the Rays hit home runs? That's what you want in DFS, right? You get the automatic 14 points right there for the home run on DraftKings. So I love that. I do think these Rays are getting slept on here. Obviously, you don't get the guaranteed ninth inning at bats, but I mean, if they hit 5 or 6 home runs, it doesn't really matter. So I do think these Rays are going to go slightly overlooked against Martin Perez here, who has under a 17% strikeout rate. Barrel rate is right around league average. Expected ERA number is right around 5. So overall, I do think these Rays make some sense. Rangers, out on the Rangers. The only guy I would look at is Corey Seager. Obviously, Seager's locked in, hit a bomb last night. And then Josh Young there, just a left-handed smasher. But overall, I mean, you're paying for both those guys, 5,500, 4,800 on DraftKings. A little steep for me to pick on McClanahan on this slate, but won't be surprised because they both hit left-handed pitching very well, especially on the road. Next game for me, I got the Marlins heading into Chicago to face the White Sox here. Giolito, Braxton Garrett, we talked on both of these pitchers. Both of these lineups are confirmed. Pretty easy cross-off spot for bats for me, but do you see something I'm missing?
Yep, nope. Lockstep once again. I mentioned it yesterday in my core report when I wrote up Michael Kopech, Soler, and Arrays are the only two Marlins that scare me. If we can get by those with Giolito, we should be fine. And also, like Braxton Garrett on the other side, the White Sox are striking out roughly at a 20-25% clip at home versus left-handed pitching. Couple that with Braxton Garrett striking out 25% on the road. I like Braxton Garrett. I like Lucas Giolito. No bats for me in this game.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. Next game we have on the slate is the Athletics heading into American Family Park here to face Freddie Peralta and the Brewers. JP Sears, who I brought up. Both lineups are confirmed here, and both lineups. I mean, the Athletics have a strikeout rate of 26% against right-handed pitching, and the Brewers do have a different lineup that they did roll out. Owen Miller batting leadoff, Joey Weimer in the 2-hole. Christian Yelich all the way down, batting 5th now today here. And they strike out over 32% against left-handed pitching. No surprise here. That's my interest against JP Sears. I just like attacking high strikeout upside lineups, and especially at the price tag. So that's the interest. I'm out on bats in this one, but do you see something maybe on the athletic side against the Chalk Peralta? Because you didn't have too much interest in Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, I don't think I want to pick on Freddie Peralta, but I don't have any interest in the Athletics. Ruiz was still a base if he gets on. He's got over 30 stolen bases on the year, but overall, no Athletics for me. And what do teams do when they struggle and you're playing a terrible team? You mix your lineup up. So we have this confirmed Brewers lineup now. They're mixing it up. Yelich lefty on lefty back to the 5-hole. That should keep some people off of them. I don't really have any interest in the Brewers. You kind of sold me on Sears. I'm going to go back and look at it, but I don't think I'll have any Brewers, but I do want to see that confirmed lineup just to make sure.
Yeah. That lineup, we did just update. I just did update our advanced lineups page over here at SHIPITnation.com. Pretty much a one-stop shop for me when I'm building teams. It's got all the handedness splits on the page, expected ISO numbers, WOBA numbers, their team K rate. It's got the pitcher at the bottom, their metrics in terms of expected ERA, their K rate, their barrel percentage, their salaries. So absolutely incredible tool over here, SHIPITnation.com. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year. And it's the last call. It's the last call for the $59 a month, $5.99 for a year, locked in, gets you access to all the major sports, including MMA, which we just had added with the addition of Titletown coming over to Ship It Nation. So last call to get that price locked in, including the founding family membership benefits as well that do go along with it. So in this game, yeah, off on the bats. I do like pitchers on both sides in that one. I probably just won't get to Freddie Peralta, but it's not that I'm going to pick any guys off. I mean, Carlos Perez in his 12 plate appearances against right-handed pitching on the road does have a 341 expected ISO. He is hitting 7th, 2,400 at the catcher position if you need a value there on DraftKings. Seth Brown, Brett Rooker, both pretty cheap, both have power. Laureano as well has some power. Ryan Noda showed some power, and all these athletics are pretty cheap. So I think maybe a two-man mini stack or a one-off if you need salary savings. Pick off some of these guys that could get to Freddie, because Freddie has upside to give up home runs, right? He does throw hard, has a lot of fastballs. So I do think he makes some sense there. Next game here, I know you touched on it. You had some interest in the Reds against Wainwright, who's going to push 20% ownership on the slate due to his salary, and he has not been good. So touch on those Reds, and then any Cardinals on the other side against Hunter Green, who's also going to get ownership. So both of these pitchers in this game getting ownership, both of these offenses are going to go overlooked here due to the pitchers. I kind of lean more offense in this game for sure than pitchers. Sounds like you're with me. Touch on that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely no Wainwright. He's not even in my player pool. He has a 6.63 expected ERA, which is really high. He has a 12.4 barrel rate versus this Reds team, which is number 3 on the slate. So completely off him. On the bats, I talked about it earlier, Ella De La Cruz, just a phenomenal young player that we see who has tons of power from the left-handed side. So he'll get numerous at-bats from the left-handed side. Couple him with Jonathan India or Matt McClain. I'm okay with that. So I'm fine with a red stack, more of a mini stack on DK than a full 5-man stack. Then on the Cardinals side, you said it earlier, Goldschmidt and Gorman can be scary. Hunter Green's going to be throwing up there 98 miles an hour. Goldschmidt, Gorman, and even Arenado for that matter definitely have the power to get it out of there if they make good contact with it. But overall, I won't have any Cardinals as well. And a couple of the Reds to fade Wainwright.
Yeah, I agree. The nice thing about these Reds is they do steal bases, and that's always some baked in upside there. I mean, De La Cruz's price tag is coming up for a good reason. Hasn't been quite as dynamic from the right side of the plate, but he'll be able to bat lefty here, which we've seen his upside. I mean, Will Benson down there has some power, lefty righty against Waino. Tyler Stevenson has he just went off, I think, right last night or the day before, hit a home run. He's 3,800 there at the catcher position, and you got a little double leverage here against a chalky Wainwright. And on the other side, these Cardinals, I mean, this confirmed lineup for them has 21% strikeout rate and expected ISO numbers sitting at 200, which is pretty good on this slate. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Gorman, even Dylan Carlson down there, 2,400. Dylan Carlson kind of caught my eye a little bit. 248 expected ISO against right-handed pitching at home. Strikeout rate right around 16%. And Hunter Green can definitely he does have a high strikeout rate, obviously, but he does get hit hard and give up some home runs because he does throw hard. So I like more of the bats. I lean more mini stacks in this game just because I love the Braves. I love the Dodgers is kind of my main pivotal stacks. And then I'm kind of getting different a little bit with my mini stacks and some of these SP2 options is kind of how I'm approaching the slate. So that's my interest. Last game of the slate. Obviously, this game is not on the DraftKings slate, but it is on the FanDuel slate. And we got the FanDuel legend here, Ham, are you going to go to this game on FanDuel? Because I think people are going to kind of flock to this game for a good reason. I mean, it's Coors Field. Padres have over 6.5 implied run total facing Lamet, who has been absolutely terrible for the Rockies here. But with it not being on DraftKings slate, I think even more people flock to it on FanDuel, being able to play Coors Field. Everyone always flocks to Coors Field in general anyways. Touch on this one on FanDuel in particular. Are you going to go to this one?
Yeah, I think you have to. Like you said, with the Padres having, around a 7 implied run total, that's going to be tough to fade. So a lot of good bats, similar to the Braves. You can go 1 through 9. I prefer some of the guys at the bottom of the lineup as well, just to get different. But Juan Soto is going to hit, have a couple good hits today. Machado, Trent Grisham's been really hitting it. So yeah, 1 through 9 for the Padres. Those are my 3 favorite ones. Not so much interest on the Rocky side. I do believe in Blake Snell. We always talk about it. Chalk Blake Snell will pass. When no one's on Blake Snell is when he really does well. So even though we're in the Mile High City, I'll still have a little bit of Blake Snell and some MME just for the simple fact that I do think he does have 10K upside and he will be under 5% owned. So I really hate it that FanDuel put it on here. Like you said earlier, it starts an hour after the last game on the DK slate. So we'll be well into the night when this slate finally ends. But definitely have interest in the Padres and minimal interest on the Rocky side.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep. I just haven't been playing these Rockies. I mean, the only 2 guys I would kind of look at are McMahon there and Randall Grichuk should hit right in the middle of the lineup. But overall, out on the Rockies against Blake Snell. And then the Padres, I mean, up and down 1 through 9, I think makes some sense, especially in Coors Field. I'm not a believer in Lamet. I'm not a believer in the Rockies bullpen behind him, but do expect the Padres to get quite a bit of ownership. I haven't looked at ownership projections too much in terms of FanDuel, but it's Coors Field, very healthy implied run total, Lamet on the mound, game not being on DraftKings, all those factors are going to boost their ownership a little bit, but for a good reason. I mean, it's Coors Field, it's the Padres. They've been hitting the ball. You got Tatis, you got Juan Soto, Machado. Gary Sanchez is rejuvenated somehow, just launching bombs left and right. Matt Carpenter, Odor, Trent Grisham even down there is starting to show some power as well. Xander is back in the lineup as well. So, I mean, 1 through 9, I think these Padres make some sense. Seeing us at 99 likes. If you have not hit the like button already, we do appreciate that. We'll be nice. We'll give you the breakfast, the little breakfast.
Ham and Nades.
Yeah,
breakfast play of the day.
Little Ham and Nades Sunday breakfast pitcher and dong of the day. We didn't get to the 130 likes to get the top-ranked pitcher on our tools and the top-ranked hitter. So maybe next week we can get that. But we will still give you our pitcher and our home run call of the day. I'm going to throw it over to you, Green Eggs and Ham. What's your pitcher call and your home run call of the day?
For my pitcher, I'm going to go a little bit off the board. I talked all show how I liked the high strikeout upside. Going to go to the Windy City. Braxton Garrett is going to be my pitcher of the day. As for hitter, my number 1 stack, Los Angeles Dodgers. I think Mookie goes back to the well tonight. Hit a late homer on Friday night to help our team. So I'm going to go Mookie Betts as my home run call of the day.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm gonna come right back with you here. I'm gonna go to a pitcher that I also talked about quite a bit on this show. I'm not afraid of this Milwaukee lineup whatsoever. It's the best possible strikeout matchup on the slate. 5th best matchup for expected ISO. First matchup on the board for expected WOBA. I'm going to go to JP Sears, 7,500 on FanDuel. I think is a very, very, very good price tag over on FanDuel. It allows you to do whatever you want with bats, and there's expensive bats. Throw Mookie Betts in there, stack up the Dodgers, throw JP Sears in there, who I think can get a quality start here as well, possibly even get the win if some of these athletics can get to these Milwaukee guys. And 7,600 on DraftKings. I'm seeing sub 10% ownership on him on DraftKings. I think JP Sears posted a big number today for his price tag. Definitely plays that off pretty easily. So I love him as my contrarian pitcher take here. And then my hitter. I talked about this guy already. I'm going to go right back to the Pirates here. I'm going to go 3,600 Jack Sawinski to go deep today off of Cookie Carrasco. I touched on these Pirates. I do like the Pirates mini stack. I think they're even a viable 5-man stack. They rank out pretty good on our hitter rankings. Jack Sawinski's our 14th ranked hitter on the slate. Checks all the boxes in terms of launch angle, exit velocity. WOBA, expected ISO. So overall, I do think Jack Sawinski makes a very nice value play there at 3,600 in the outfield, 3,300 on FanDuel. Expect him to take a ball deep over the fence today. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate everyone hanging out. If you have not hit the like button already, hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel over here. We appreciate everyone. Sunday morning, slate locks in right around 50 minutes or so. So it gives you 50 minutes to digest the show. Put it on 1.5, 2 times if you are tuning in late. Jump over to shipitnation.com. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year does get you access to all of our tools. Catch our core plays. We do have our cores up there. We have all the lineups page update, projections updated as well. But for Hamwich making his debut over here at shipitnation.com, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We will be back on Monday for another episode of the Witching Hour. But for Hamwich, for Nades, we're going to catch you guys later. Good luck today. Peace.